my family. I am grateful for my family. I enjoy learning. I make live the happiest school.
Hi guys, this is Professor Sai of Always Be Closing Academy and XTT. Guys, for the financial advisor in our industry, meron ka na bang BIR Certificate of Registration? And by the way, ilang percent ba ang withholding tax mo from the insurance company? 10% ba? 15% ba? 12% ba? What if we can help you lower your withholding tax to 5%? Guys, gusto nyo po ba yon? And ano ba ang registration mo? Value-added tax ka ba? Or non-VAT ka ba? Guys, if you'd like to learn more of that, then see you every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. together with the fantastic coaches, Coach Ron C. and Coach Jeff Luspo of the Always Be Closing Academy. Just click the link below and see you every Saturday. Guys, always be closing!
Good evening, guys. Welcome to another episode of Coffee House Chat. This is Coach Aiet, and with me is Professor Sai. Good evening, Professor Sai.
Hi, Coach Aiet. Good evening, guys. This is Professor Sai of XDT. Of course, I'm excited again for another episode. It's episode 11, Coach Aiet, no, season 2. Coach Aiet, last week it was really a fantastic session with our good friend Sofia. Diba? Fearless
Yes, oo.
forecast for 2021.
2021, sobrang na-advance nga tayo dyan kasi,
Imagine, Coach, 'di ba? Advance yung ating advance yung ating session, hindi pa natatapos yung taon, but we are already forecasting what is
because we
going to
want to
happen.
become prepared.
Yes, and I love the session because pag sinabi natin kasi mga forecast, especially right now that people are experiencing not so good, 'di ba? Because of the pandemic, of the ECQ, the COVID virus and everything. Kaya nga, parang ang word na pinaka-hated ng Filipinos or siguro even the whole the world itself is yung word na positive, no? Pag sinabing, "Uy, positive ka ba?"
Oo nga, parang iba yung dating.
'Di ba?
Diba?
Unlike before, dapat positive ka lang, ganyan. Pag ngayon, pag sinabihan ka positive, parang matatakot ka talaga eh. I rather use the word, Coach, optimistic yan.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
so yan, shout out lang to our good friend, no, Sofia. Thank you so much for being
Sofia
our
girl.
guest
Yes.
last Sunday. Yan. So
I think nag-release siya ng another YouTube. Meron siyang clip ulit. Guys, don't forget to follow her. And if you have further questions about what she said last session, nako, feel free because she will really welcome you with open arms. Especially if you are parang magpapa-coach on how to better your business for the coming year. And syempre may mga tawag dito, yung may mga na-forecast din tayo na gusto natin gawin, mga plans. You can talk about it with her and then pa-advise. Of course, lahat naman ng sinasabi natin dito sa Coffee House Chat, Professor Sai, is really more on the inside. So, as what Sofia mentioned, it's really based on her interpretation. So, I think meron siyang social media na binigay last session and feel free to watch us on replay here in Coach Aiet's page. And speaking of which, Prof. Sai,
yes, Coach.
Natutuwa ako kasi, you know what, yung friends ko from Network for Enterprising Women are very, what do you call this, very inspirational and nakakatawa because they gave help dun sa Catanduanes kababayans natin. And natouch ako because ang dami talagang
mga donation. Shout out naman natin yung mga good friends mo from
Miss Wang Fox
from New.
and Judith Cinco, which is also
so hi guys, hi ladies, thank you so much for your contribution, for your donation, especially para sa ating mga kababayan na tinamaan po ng typhoon Ulysses. Diba? Talagang dapang-dapa eh. Diba, Coach?
Hinatid pa ng C-130.
Wow, diba? Pinakita mo nga sa akin yun. Sabi ko, wow, big time. C-130, diba?
Para sa mga nasalanta nating mga kababayan. And also, syempre, yung mga nasa Bicol din nating mga kababayan yan, nag-reach out din tayo dyan. And dun sa taga Marikina, ayan, via Caritas na yan, at saka yung Cagayan. Ayan.
Yan, okay.
Si BCBP naman yata yung sa Montalban.
Yun. Sige, shout out din tayo, Coach, sa ating mga good friends and partners sa XDT, si partner Ma'am Rome Jesus and si Sir Melvin Rosario. So, guys, good evening.
Kita nyo ba na medyo bago ngayon ang aking background?
Oo nga, Coach, di ba? Sa mga company ng under the XDT group, di ba? The DDR Real Estate Brokerage and the Flight Travel Express. And kahit nasabihin natin na medyo nag-slow down ng tourism industry, I still look at it as positive dahil once na trivia lang, Coach, nag-open na ang mga hotels 100% na.
I think meron na rin yatang local flights. Kasi
yung mga local flights na. Kumbaga little by little, naman yan eh. Kaya natin mga Pilipino yan kasi number one, ang mga Pilipino by nature, resilient yan. Binabaha na tayo, binabagyo na tayo, pumuputok na ang bulkan, pero nakangiti pa rin ang mga Filipino, di ba? But, Coach, because of these tremendous challenges that we are experiencing, there is no better way to do it but to do it with Giomin. Kasi pagka meron kang Giomin, di ba? It helps boost your immune system.
Tama.
And the good thing about Giomin, Coach Aiet, gawang Pilipino, tatak Pilipino. Para sa Pilipino.
Hi, Sir Lay.
Yan, so shout out to our good friend, Linlay Riboyon. Sir, good evening. Yan. And of course, and
Yung
Just
sa,
like you,
sa
Coach.
Lead School Inc. naman, courtesy of Mr. and Mrs. Alice Bautista. Thank you for giving us, for sponsoring 1,500 worth of vouchers for our kids and family who are listening right now. Ayan. So if you tag Lead in your comment here below sa Coach Aiet's comment page, you will have, or we will contact you, the media team will contact you for those vouchers. And if you want to win GCash and 1,000, ay 1,000 talaga nasabi ko. 100
Bale po sa
peso
next
loan.
anniversary natin, Coach.
Oo, diba?
Before the Christmas, pwede tayo mamigay ng mga ganong ano. Oo, di ba?
Ayan, 100 load. Ayan, just like, share, and tag 5 of your friends here in Coffee House Chat. The hashtag for tonight is...
Okay, what's the hashtag for tonight, Coach? Sige.
The hashtag is startup and hashtag franchise. Ayan.
Yun. Coach, shoutout na natin yung mga mga nag-comment sa atin last week, 'di ba? Unahin na natin si Millie Cruz. Sabi niya, optimism is one of the best quality of a person can have. Yan, optimism. At least ginamit na niya yung word optimism. Okay, kaya naman kay Shin Hara, sabi niya, preparation is the key. I like that. I like that word. Kumbaga, yung sa session kasi natin, Coach, last Sunday, the good thing about it is hindi para matakot, hindi para matakot, kundi para for us to be prepared. Kasi pagka you know what to expect, in a way that gives you a heads up.
Psychologically, mag-prepare ka din.
Parang yun eh. Pag in-announce ng teacher mo, may exam tayo sa ganito, di ba? So ano ba dapat natin gawin? Di ba? Mag-prepare, di ba? Aral ng konti, di ba? Basa-basa ng konti. And of course, yung ating pangatlong shoutout, si Risa Gonzalez, sabi niya, thanks Coach and Prof, especially Miss Sofia. Very informative session. Thanks sa valuable insight. I'll stay focused and be prepared for 2021. Ayan, di ba? Alam ba, Coach?
Naman, dapat ready tayo lagi.
Alam ba, Coach?
Yes.
Of course, sabi nga natin, kaya may pandemic o wala, tuloy ang Pasko. Di ba? Ganun lang naman tayo mga Pilipino.
At saka, wala tayo nga sabi nga, lahat na lang ng pagkakataon, sa lahat na lang ng dinaanan ng Pilipino, di ba? Hindi tayo talaga nag-give up. And that's how resilient we are.
Yes, that's how resilient Filipinos are. Yan.
Correct. And, meron ba tayong nakalimutan bago natin pakilala ang ating bagong guest for tonight?
Okay. I'm already excited. Alam ko may matututunan naman tayong bago for this weekend, di ba?
Before that daw, Prof. Sai, merong mga shoutout lang yung winners, no? Si Honey May Nanulan, Camille Vasquez, Kate Charlotte Quazon, Rowan Sakdal Clavano, and Paula Dublado. Congratulations, guys! And I hope natanggap nyo ang mga prizes. Ayan, prizes ng load. Okay. Now, ito, just a very, very quick, brief description. So, nakilala ko ang ating guest for tonight through my sisters in Network for Enterprising Women, or New Phils. Ayan. So, shout out to Sister Judith and Myron Garcia. So,
hi, ladies.
At that time, nagbigay siya ng talk sa amin. And there's nothing but good feedback and high regard to our speaker. And yun nga, dahil nga public speaker siya and has been with the industry for a long time. Kung sinasabing yung age sinasabi ko yung level of expertise.
Oo naman, Coach, diba?
Ayan, Hindi siya mas maganda yun kasi alam mo na, there's really no nonsense pag kiusap mo siya. So, he is part of AFFI, or Association of Filipino Franchisers Incorporated, with over 30 years of franchising experience, not just here in the Philippines, but all over the world. So may Asia, Middle East, and North America.
Fantastic.
In fact, Prof. Sai, he has numerous successful franchise stories beginning with Franchising 101. I think I have that book, yung Franchising 101. And then, there are a lot of brands like, banggitin ko na
Sige po, please.
Potato Corner. Ayan,
wow, favorite ko yan.
Natin, diba?
Favorite ko yan, Coach. Favorite ko yan.
Ayan, Potato Corner, Mang Inasal, Julie's,
wow.
Big Shop, Generica, Pure Gelato, Bayad Center, and many more. Now, aside from that, Prof. Sai, na public speaker, he is also an author. So, yung mga books niya, pwedeng paki-flash, guys. Ayan, yung books niya na
Wow.
na-publish na, and the latest one is Tuesday. Ayan. So more we'll talk about later, but now we would like to welcome Mr. Armando Butz Bartolome, also known as the Franchise Guru. Good evening.
Good evening, good
Tito
evening, good
Butz.
evening, Tito Butz. Good evening po. It's a
Hi,
privilege
welcome.
for us tonight na meron kaming magaling na guest,
Expert,
seasoned
oo.
entrepreneur and franchise
Yes.
guru, no?
Oo.
Yeah.
Nako, sabi ko nga parang kinakabahan ako mag-introduce. Sabi ko, simplihan ko lang kasi parang overload.
Oo nga, coach. Kahit tinanong, parang kinakabahan ako kanina,
Actually,
di ba?
titingin ako sa phone ko, parang ang dami na agad na magko-question. Kasi nakita nila yung startup, di ba? Yun ang ating
Startup,
title. Business tips on startup and franchise.
Yun, perfect.
Good
Yan.
evening.
Good evening, Tito Butz. Good evening po. Good evening.
And it's a pleasure to be invited by this the Coffee Chat House, CoffeeHouseChat.
CoffeeHouseChat, yes.
Diba ko, I love the name because it connotes something like after meals, let's have coffee, something to wind up the day, and especially now.
Right, exactly.
Especially now, yeah.
And for me naman, Tito Butz,
Question, yes.
for me naman, ang depiction sa akin ng coffee is like you're comfortable talking about anything under the sun, di ba? Chilling after a meal, etc. Now, siguro, can you give us a brief background how you started in the business? So,
Well-
para ma-inspire naman kami. Yes.
Paano ba ako nagsimula? Well, I used to be an OFW, overseas Filipino worker. Actually, hindi pa pangalan namin W Dapat E. Overseas Filipino Contract Worker, OCW, no?
Okay.
Para bang para bang kontrata na trabador, and
Project-based.
my foray, and I used to be with a pizza chain in the Philippines for a year, and I was assigned abroad in Singapore. This is Shakey's, actually,
Shakey's po.
a U.S. chain from California, and they started dito sa Pilipinas, and I happened to have the privilege of being chosen by the then Andres Soriano Jr., one of the owners before of San Miguel Corporation. Kasi license kasi ng San Miguel Corporation ang Shakey's, no? And they started in 1975.
Oh, wow. Trivia yun. Tito Butz, ngayon ko lang nalaman na pala na San Miguel yan. Ha? Galing, ha?
Ako din.
Kasi kasama San Miguel, beer.
Oh, beer dati yan and beer and pizza go together.
Beer, okay.
kaya pala.
Galing, ha?
That makes sense.
Kumbaga, may chat house, beer house naman.
Beer match. Oh. Tama.
Oo nga, coach. Naalala ko yun kasi nung college na ako, I like going sa Shakey's, Tito Butz, kasi may beer. May dahilan kaming uminom kasi may pizza.
Hindi,
Kaya-
alam ko yan kung bakit. Kasi may banda, di ba? Usually may combo. Tama ba? Oh
Oh.
my gosh, yung edad natin.
Nagsimula ng dati nagsimula ng banjo player, nagsimula ng singer, hanggang naging orchestra na ata, lumampas-lampas na no? So, but nevertheless, I was given the challenge to be assigned in Singapore to help Singapore or Shakey's Asia, which was managed at that time by the son, Andres Soriano III. No? So the whole of Asia, except Philippines. So, but again, you realize the challenge. Life can be difficult, but you always say, ano ba ang challenge sa buhay? Yun ang parating, I almost wanted to quit because I felt I was not ready for it. The second is I had cultural adjustment.
Of course.
Kumakain tayo ng kutsara at tinidor. Pagdating mo sa Singapore, chopsticks.
Chopsticks, no? Oo nga po pala, tama.
Magugutom ka talaga at gusto mo ng kamayin pero hindi mo naman makamay yung sabaw. Yun, di ba? Yung mga ganon, di ba?
Opo, cultural difference, no? Cultural, coach term mo doon? Cultural immersion. Yan.
Immersion, oo.
And the challenge there is to set up the store, to train people, operations, But then the promise of the boss was actually 6 months. 6 months lang, balik ka na sa Pilipinas. Pero yung 6 months na yun, naging 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow! You must really did a great job,
Para bang,
for them to extend.
and then I had to ask my wife to leave her work in the Philippines to join me kasi, this is
The
no
benefit.
the temporary is going to be there. So from whole of Asia, I was putting up different stores in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong. So I was traveling, I was traveling there, but I'm based in Singapore. But I thought it was the end of it. But until finally another challenge was presented to go to the Middle East.
Middle East naman po. Wow.
Okay.
So, kaya lang one condition sabi sa akin ng boss ko na Amerikano. Sabi niya, Butch, you have to grow a mustache. Sabi ko,
Oo nga, bawal ang makinis doon. Tito
Ah?
Butz.
alam mo, restaurant kasi sa amin, the code of ethics there is you have to be clean, right? I mean,
Tama.
Yes, tama.
but sabi ko, give me one reason why. Well, you know what reason? You're going to be Saudi Arabia. Oh, okay. And you know what in Saudi Arabia? It's in Middle East. No, but you have to watch your back. That's why you have to grow your mustache. Sabi ko,
Ayun.
anong ba yun?
Oo. Nako guys, sana nagigets nyo na.
Oo. Yung pala yun. Kaya kailangan you have to grow your mustache, di ba? No?
Oh.
Maputi pa naman si Tito Butz.
Oo, nako.
Ano?
Guwapo na, maputi pa. Di ba? But I can't imagine, Tito Butz, na meron kang mustache, no? For how long naman?
Pero wala tayong picture dyan.
Apa.
Hindi yata na nakakuha.
Mahirap magpatubo, habsuyo. Kahit anong remedyo, talagang kahit baku-baku yan, bahala siya. Para bang yaks. But nevertheless, my task naman there was to recruit Filipinos, 200 of them from Manila.
Okay po.
And to set up the stores in Saudi, Jeddah, Riyadh, and all this. And it was challenging because you're being now not on your own, but you are with these Filipino males, no? And you're training them here in Manila and bringing them to Saudi Arabia. And your responsibility is actually heavier because para kang caretaker nila, parang yaya.
Tama po.
Mataas pa ang sweldo nung araw.
O kaya maraming nag-OFW, no?
Oo, libre. Walang ano yon. In fact, habang nagtitrain sila sa Pilipinas, meron silang allowance and free, plane fare, blah, 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 2 years. Mataas pa sweldo. It's about $600-700 noon.
Wow.
But again, my responsibility was making sure that they come back alive. And they come.
Dapat mag-follow ng rules. Mahirap na, Middle East yan.
Malupit yung buhay doon no? And being caretaker with communicating, making sure that at that time, alam mo, nung araw talaga, ang hirap. Ang technology will now really try to love it. Because nung araw, cellphone was a luxury.
Oo nga po. Naalala ko po yung kapitbahay namin, yung cellphone niya nakalagay sa bag. Sikat na po siya noon, Tito Butz. Kasi siya lang meron ganun sa buong block namin eh.
Of course.
Yung kabag pa.
Tapos, eto, natuto kami magsulat. Yung susulat ka, no? And by numbers, yung aming envelope. Bakit? Kasi baka yung number 5 nauna sa number 8. Okay? Magkakaloko-loko na ang problema. Tapos yung cassette tape, ewan ko kung naalala niyo pa yung cassette.
Ay, opo.
Sa atin.
Yes. Batang 80s po tayo.
Oo.
And then matututo kang may hawak na salamin, may hawak ka ng tape recorder, tapos merong litrato ng pamilya mo, sabihin mo, kamusta kayo? Ako, okay naman dito. Parang nagsasalita ka ng sarili mo lang, no?
Ganun pala yun, guys.
Just to keep your, just to keep yourself din.
Hindi kailangan i-record nila yung sarili. So parang pag nakikita mo, masasabi mo yung gusto niya. Kasi wala pa namang phone noon, di ba?
Padala mo yung ayun, tapos yung pamilya mo naman magre-reply. Pag hindi nag-reply ang tao, yung isang mga tao ko, ako nagmo-monitor sa Pilipinas, sasabihin ko yung pamilya, "Oy, sumulat ka kasi yung asawa mo malungkot." Wow, heavy.
HR ka din pala, no? Bukod sa,
One-stop shop si Tito Butz, no? Caretaker na, HR pa, di ba? Talagang one-stop shop lahat.
Relationship officer, di ba? Ganyan na ngayon ang tawag.
Yeah, tapos sa Dubai, I brought in the first 80 Filipinas. Filipina naman, mga women, ha? Kasi
okay po.
bawal ang female sa Saudi eh. So women naman, no? In Jumeirah and in Dubai. And I could remember how Dubai looked before. It was like one of the provincial airports before.
Talaga po.
Very
Iba na ngayon.
ngayon iba na eh, parang space age eh, no?
Opo.
Ano mga lessons ko doon? I'm happy that I was able to bring back and all these 200 Filipinos back. May problema like for example, yung mga asawa dito, alam mo yung mga typical na OFW.
Oo. Nasa movie.
Aday yung si Mrs. Si Mr. Marami mga ganun. But I'm happy that most of them had a startup business. Because that's what,
nice.
yung bang, sana wag na kayo maging empleyado forever.
Pagbalik sa Philippines.
Oo, yun
Tama
naman
po.
talaga ang kanilang nais, di ba? Yung mga
Correct.
OFW friends natin. Pagdating ko dyan, hindi na ako mag-start from the bottom kasi alam ko ng kumita ng malaki, etc. Di ba? So, which leads me to my first question, Tito Butz. Paano nga ba mag-start up? Talaga bang mahirap yan? Or, kasi may nagtanong dito sa kanina, while we are talking, sabi lang niya na kung gusto magnegosyo, mas okay ba startup o franchise?
Well, regardless of whether you do a startup or a business, a franchise, sa akin the secret is actually mindset. Yung pag-iisip mo. Ano ba talaga ang gusto mo? Kasi I realized that having been an entrepreneur now for 27 years, I realized that I experienced it. In fact, when I opted for an optional retirement, kasi you reach a point in your employee's life, na hanggang dito ka na lamang ba?
Ay, oo, nakaka-relate naman ako dyan.
Yung pangatlo na ako sa rangko, yung dalawa may-ari ng negosyo. Alam mo, sabi ko naman sa sarili ko, alam naman sipain ko yung dalawang may-ari at ako naman manguna, no? Hindi naman
Glass ceiling.
no? So I realized I had all plan A, and that is plan A. What is my plan? To return to the Philippines, to start at a restaurant because I knew how to set up. I know the products, I know the concept. Okay, fine. Those 4 ingredients. Guess what? When I came home, boy, I had a big flop. I had a failure. Failure is a wake-up call, right? But one thing I realized, I never had any plan B, C, and D. Bakit? Kasi nahirapan ako mag-adjust. I was away for so many years, number one. Things change, yung landscape natin dito. Pangatlo, ang hirap mag-apply ng mga permits. I mean,
Tama po kayo dyan. Tama po kayo dyan, Tito Butz. Isa yan sa mga challenges natin. Relate kami dyan, Tito Butz. Yan.
Yung bang, nag-apply ako, pero sabi sa akin, ay, marami yung, alam mo, kuskus balungos eh. I'm not used to that. I'm not that kind of person. So, and then the concept, hindi pa maintindihan. Not even my neighbor. And so, plan A, failed. What did I do? Wow. I mean, you're like having, imagine this. You have this much savings. And then all of a sudden, yung tubo, malaking agos ng expenses. Imagine mo yung savings mo, you're like in a water tank. And that pipe is so big that you cannot control the expenses. Di ba? Pababa yung ang savings mo. And you get panicky. Okay? What did I do? Boy, I had to use other methods like what? I applied for work. But guess what? As an OFW pala, may tatak ka doon na parating ang tingin sa'yo, ay sir, hindi namin... Overqualified.
Overpaid.
Bang mga, ay baka nakatikim na ho kayo ng mga dollar at pound, dito peso.
Peso lang? Oh, naku.
So, parang in short huwag na ho kayo mag-apply.
Nag-discriminate na agad.
Ano na yan, Coach Aiet, parang it's just a sweet way of saying na, hindi na ho namin kayo tatanggapin kasi galing na ho kayo ng abroad yan. Iba yung rate nyo, parang gano'n.
Tapos, sasabihin sa'yo, can you pass your resume? At that time, alam mo, mahal magpa-photocopy. Okay? Hindi yung
Ilang pages, Tito Butz,
Most na
ang iyong resume mo?
Oo. Nakaka-relate. Tapos sasabihin sa'yo ng mga apply mo, I will give you a call later. We'll give you a call. So sasabihin ko, alam ko na yung we'll give you a call eh. Don't call us, we'll call you. In other words, so sasabihin ko na lang, ma'am, can I get back my resume? Kasi mahal mo magpa-photocopy.
Tama.
Gamitin mo lang scratch paper yan.
Oo nga. Hindi naman...
Nevertheless, one of the things that I realize is that my mindset, I have to surrender. Surrender, accept, never have that denial na bakit hindi ako pwede, bakit hindi ako pwede. Yung bang Superman attitude. And one of the things that I have been teaching a lot of people is this, accept who you are and know what inventory of experiences you have, what values do you carry. Kasi you're setting up a business okay? You're setting up a business, regarding startup or franchise. But what do you really want? And answer your why. Why? Okay? That is something that I always learn. When I answer that, why do you want to get into business? Why do you want to start? What's your focus? What's your core competency? Then I realize, okay, hindi lang pala ako sa restaurant lang. And then the other one is faith. That's one of the things that really kept me in my shell, my brain, keeping my mental stability. Because you realize you're getting frustrated, you're hitting the wall. Every time you go hit the wall, the other one wall. Para bang, wala bang door that's left open despite all these things that are closed? And the only way that I found out is have that faith, And true enough, when you start surrendering and start becoming humble, kasi nung araw mayabang ako sobrang yabang. I mean, talagang kahit nung nakilala ko kayo, siguro sabihin niyo, yabang nitong taong ito, lahat alam niya. Para bang, wow, para bang hinumble ka. Para bang, sige, yung failure mo, I want you to realize who you are. And when I realized who I am, I started having my new self. I started realizing, okay, I should be open to opportunities. And then having that winning mindset. Sabi nga ni Coach kanina, huwag yung positive Yeah, optimistic.
Opo. Optimistic po yung word, not positive. Kasi that's the most hated word for 2020, no? Pag sabi, uy, dapat positive ka lang. Ay, ano positive? Yan. Hindi po ba?
But I also realize that part of the mindset is how you value yourself and how you value others. Because how you look at life is something that I realize. Nung araw talagang pessimistic na ako. Yung bang, umuwi pa ako. And then I realized yung biro sa akin ng American boss ko. Sabi sa akin, magsisisi ka, Butch. You will reach out for me asking and begging for another job. I said, no, I'm not. And then yung Arabo kong kaibigan, sabi niya, Butch, if you really find life difficult, you're always welcome to Saudi Arabia. Sabi ko lang sarili ko, no way. Ayoko na magbigote.
Yun pala yun. Mahirap mag-maintain nun, mainit.
Tsaka talaga ng buhay Saudi. I mean, ako saludo ko sa life in Saudi. Ngayon nga medyo relaxed, no? Nakaka-drive na yung mga babae. Pero anong araw talagang you're a prison within a prison. Like if I am in Mandaluyong, I cannot unless there's a permission. So that's how I began. And how did I end up with my business? You just have to open up yourself. Starting a business is that one. And then the capital. My setback was, paano yan? Wala akong kapital.
Pwede ba yun, Tito Butz, zero capital? Na meron ka bang, what's your insight on that? Can you really start with zero capital?
I'm a believer that capital is something relative. No? Para bang, bigyan kita na 1 milyon kaya, Prof. Ano naman ang gusto mo? Baka ka, hindi ka masasatisfy sabi ko, ako nga credit card ang sinangla ko na Kasi, bakit? Halos sagad na ako Yung bang, you feel na yung magka-crash land ka na, yung bang you have to keep that nose up there in order to breathe. So, I started with a small computer. I never even knew how to operate a computer because I used to be a boss. I mean, I had
Opo, may mga tao po kayo na gumagawa para sa inyo, tapos all of a sudden,
yabang.
as an entrepreneur, tayo lahat, ano? Yan.
Then I realized, ay, ano ba ito? Well, yung ibang mga listener watchers natin, di nakaka-relate. I had to buy a 386 computer.
Oh, 386, I remember that.
Meron ba rin yan? Nagkaroon siya.
Nagkaroon po ako yan, isa sa mga unang computer ko, 386 yan.
Di ko nga alam kung ano yung green screen na yan, gumaganon-ganon eh, no? Ano ba ito? Hindi ko alam tong language na ito. Sige. So anyway, but you know, a startup is something that you have to wet your hands. You have to roll up your sleeves. Ika nga. I mean, what you used before, if you used to be an employee or a boss before, start to realize that you have to learn and relearn. And that's a way of startup. Ganon.
Maganda yung sinabi ni Tito Butz, para nag-roll up ka talaga ng sleeves.
Exactly.
And guys, if you guys are familiar with Netflix, yung startup, nako, medyo yan ang kinakahiligan ko nga yung mga...
Oh, meron bagong series sa Netflix. Tito Butz na favorite ni Coach Aiet. It's a Korean telenovela. Tama, Coach?
It's more on... kaya ko siya na-curious kasi mga bata. Tapos there's this parang entity wherein parang may mga angel investors. Now what I got from Tito Butz is that tama yun yung mindsetting. Kasi if you don't have it, medyo mahirapan kang mag-move forward. Pangalawa, napanood ko rin to, sabi nila, kailangan magkasusuko, yung grit, kailangan na doon siya. Kasi yung bida, ang dami na niyang kinrose as in, parang dinala pa siya sa malayong lugar, hindi niya alam. Parang nagsa-sales talk siya. Only to find out na, ano ba itong ginagawa ko sa sarili ko? Hindi niya alam pa paano bumalik. Kasi nga, gusto niya lang na i-push. Kasi CEO siya eh. Parang, ang maganda doon regardless of your credential, di ba? If you really have it, if you have the passion for it, you will do everything. Tapos yun, you have to learn from other people. Yung na-pick up ko sa kanya na regardless of what culture or what do you call this, yung upbringing ng ibang tao, ibang culture nila, syempre ibang paniniwala, you have to blend. Kasi if not, di ba, parang it's lonely on top, di ba? Tama ba yun, bro? Parang walang tutulong sa'yo.
You have to learn to adapt, di ba?
Yeah.
Especially right now that we're experiencing this new normal. Ako, I'm a big believer ng 3 A's of business eh. Number one, you have to accept na hindi na babalik yung dating old normal. Number two, you have to adjust. You have to adjust yung methodologies mo sa negosyo mo. And of course, number three is you have to accept, adjust, adapt. Yan tatlong A's ng business. Anyway, going back doon sa binabanggit ni Tito Butz kanina. So, yun sa startup po. But how did you go into franchising naman po?
Well, yun ang nangyari, no? I could not start a business. Anything I wanted did not work. And one of the things I realized when I did my inventory of myself, yung mga years of training, years of seminars, years of cultural exposure, somebody happened to ask me and say, Butch, hindi ba you're into franchising? Yeah, but at that time, nobody knew what franchising was about, okay? They always think franchising was for mayaman, okay?
Oh,
and so,
yata yan.
yeah, I have a friend who's looking for one. And one of the things I realized, credibility is part of your startup. Who you are and what you are and whether people can trust you. Kasi that's a very, very mighty word, trust. And so I met with this client and the families, and I asked them, why is it that you want to go in franchising? Well, because we have this concept. We know this is a winner. Okay, fine. So sabi niya, what kind of experience do you have? So I said all these countries and all this. And then we started working on it. Okay. So since I was into food, that's my line of specialization. I was selling franchises to different nationalities in Asia and Middle East, setting up. And then another client came. Word of mouth is still the much powerful thing. Word of mouth. Because at that time, wala naman tayong text-text, di ba?
Opo.
But yung bang you work an extra mile without counting the cost, para bang hindi yung every move meron kang charge. Hindi. Para bang, and also, one of the things that I learned is that my wife and I started working together. Yung being able to work as a team. It's so, ganda eh. Kasi para bang you can divide your work like yung siya sa financial, ako naman yung operations, and then we mix ourselves into marketing. It's a family business that started to grow. And when we meet with the client, we try to sort of understand their position, not come in like somebody will, meron kang reseta o etong gawin ninyo.
Prescription.
Mga ganon yung mga, hindi. Para bang I have to empathize. I have to know where they're coming from. And the fears, lalong-lalo na yung kanilang goals. They're optimistic, but you also have to be realistic.
Realistic. Opo.
Kasi minsan...
Parang you put the context sa dreams nila. Tama ba?
Yeah.
Parang ganon.
So,
That's great. That's nice.
ang ano yan it was really painstaking because I have to understand and I have to sort of open my mind that I cannot be, what is good for them may not be good for others, parang ganon. And then the other thing is the ability for you to hold confidential matters. That is something that I realize in startup business or franchise. The ability to safeguard whatever information they give you. Okay? Para bang, and make them smile. Para bang, give them that luxury wherein they will see their dreams come true. Parang, and really...
Delight them.
Nakakatuwa because ideas come when you do brainstorming with them. Their concept may not be that perfect, but later on, because of exchange of ideas, nagkakaroon ng fine-tuning. And later on, when they start launching their startup business, then they start, wow, ang galing ah. Then all of a sudden, biglang may mga nagtatanong, nagpa-franchise na ba yan? Sabi ko, teka muna, isa-isa lang. Dahan-dahan lang. Startup muna tayo. Yan.
Tama. Sir Butz, may I interrupt? Kasi there are a lot of questions coming in. So, let's just siguro answer a few. Sabi dito, what is your biggest franchise disaster?
Biggest?
O ikukwento mo, franchise disaster. What is your...
Or challenge na lang, Coach. I think I would like to use the word challenge na lang. Kasi, we'll try to balance, kumbaga, what would you consider as your biggest achievement in terms of franchise, and at the same time your biggest challenge na lang in terms of franchise.
We can learn from
we can learn from both angles po.
Yung challenge rather than disaster, para nag-crash no? But anyway, so yung sa akin yung challenge ko is partners. I am so sad. I feel so sad, and I feel wherein when best of friends, best of cousins, mother and fathers, daughters and siblings, sons, brothers, they quarrel. Why? Because they assume that their partnership is going to be okay. But that okay is never, walang detail eh. Like for example, kunyari, nag-uusap tayo over dinner, all of a sudden, negosyo tayo, sige, kailan tayo sila? Bukas. Anong gusto mo? Akong kapitalista, ikaw mag-industrial partner ha? Sige. Tapos nagkaroon ng specter of doubt. Bakit ganun? Bakit Prof? Bakit di tayo kumikita? Bakit naka-Rolex ka na ngayon?
Nagsisihan na.
Nagsisilipan na yan.
Silipan na.
Tama.
I had that. They were friends. They were classmates in elementary all the way up to college. And one of them was married, and the others were all single at the time. And so the one married said, "Hey guys, parati kayong bulakbol ng bulakbol. I end up here working here in this store. How come you're not contributing?" Ayun, sabi nila, imbis na mag-away-away tayo, sarado lang ang store. But the concept was good.
Right.
Ah,
Relationship. Dapat may mga constitutional something din, no? Document siguro.
ano yun, Tito Butch, knowing na ganun nga yung nangyari, so moving forward, what would you recommend naman for for especially kung family members, 'di ba? Normally, ano na yung naging resolution nyo as an expert
Based from
already in franchise
experience.
na kasi magpa-franchise kami at yung possibility na mangyari yon, ano na po yung naging parang natin, resolution natin for that one?
Proactive solution.
Proactive solution po.
So the solution that I did was actually it was starting a horizontal foundation. You know, it's like putting up a building. Like pagsabi natin, I want to put up a 30-story building. Fine. But what's your vertical foundation? How strong is it? So one part of the horizontal foundation is that do you have a clear understanding of each other? One. What are your expectations? Two. Number three, do you have this documented? Is everybody clear? Okay, before we move in, before we start the project. Kasi sa akin, kung mag-aaway-away lang kayo dahil sa pera, at magkakasiraan yung relationship, wag na lang, no? Kasi para bang I don't want to be part of that thing na ikaw naman, Butz, pinayaman mo kami, ngayon nag-away-away kami. Aba, hindi ko naman kasalanan, pinayaman ko kayo, di ba? Yung bang, ito yung concept no? But I realize I have to backtrack. I have a family, actually family na ito rin. Nag-away-away. So sabi ko, teka, before we do anything, let's have the family constitution. Not my work anymore, not part of my job, but I said, no, I have to step in. You know why? Because I feel obligated that when you franchise out, you're obligated to the person or people who believe in your concept. Tapos nag-away-away lang kayo, kawawa naman yung mga taong nag-invest sa inyo, di ba? So I had to come up with a family constitution and I have to do counseling. Kaya nga itong consultant na ito, C2 ang tawag ko no? We are a consultant and we are counselors. Parang ganon. Lalo na husband and wife, nako pag nag-away.
Opo. Hindi, kami, nag-away kami sa conference room. Pagdating ng 10 p.m., family na ulit. Pero pag nasa office, iba talaga. So,
meron kaming ganung rule, Tito Butz, na pag nandito kami sa opisina, okay lang na mag-away kami, especially when we're discussing about ideas
So we want to be objective.
Ako kasi yung tipo na pag meron kang idea, i-challenge ko. Same is true with Coach Aiet. Kung meron siya idea, i-challenge niya rin ako.
Good.
So, minsan parang they would hear us na parang nagtatalo kami.
Natatakot yung mga
pero sa amin, that's really
Okay lang ba
our
sila?
way of showing kung ano yung idea ko, yan. But pagdating naman namin sa bahay, kahit na nag-aaway kami dito, ang basic rule namin doon, we don't talk about business in the house. Kasi nandun na tayo sa opisina Dapat doon natin pag-usapan. Pagdating sa bahay, mga bata, tapos about family na po.
Plans.
But one of the good things na na-realize ko, Coach Butch, and share ko na rin sa mga viewers natin and those who are listening, no matter how late kami umuwi, we will do rosary.
True.
As a family. And nangyari po yan over pandemic na ako for the longest time, I wanted to do rosary with the kids but I cannot convince them. Or si Coach Aiet, magro-rosary siya pero siya lang. Then all of a sudden, during pandemic, I talked to my kids, sabi ko, let's pray guys. Tapos naging part na ng family culture namin yun sa evening. Not necessary after dinner, kasi minsan after dinner, Coach, Coach, di ba? O Tito Butz, medyo busy pa rin Yung mga bata, may tinatapos pa rin assignment. So sabi ko, sige, finish all of these things, tapos we start. Yan. So, part na ng namin yun, ng family culture namin yun.
At saka maganda doon, siguro, naging result noon is good communication, naging two-way. Because, they have to do something, drop everything and do this with the rest of the people in the house, di ba? Yun yung magandang naging result niya. So, going back dun sa sinasabi na franchise versus startup, talaga namang medyo mahirap sa startup. But of course, si franchise, hindi rin naman siya madali, I'm sure, dahil there's a lot of gold standards already that you have to follow. Plus, of course, the capital needs to be present. Diba? Siguro lang, Tito Butz, based dito din sa question na nagpapadala, what is a good product or service that can have, how much should I invest for a franchise? Tapos may mga technical trainings ba to in terms of franchise? Or you have to understand the concept?
Well, sa akin kasi, when you, there are a lot of people asking me, Butz, ano ba talagang secret? What is a hot franchise? And I just smile by myself because a hot franchise is something that you cannot gauge or you cannot recommend. Something hot, baka mapasok ka pa, di ba? I always have this acronym, investigate first before investing, IFBI. Because it applies to any business, no, any offering. Investigate first before investing. So
Ganda po nun, investigate first before investing. I like that, Coach Aiet. So let's take note of that. Maganda yan. Another learning for
Hindi
tonight.
pa naman yan yung trivia natin tonight.
Hindi pa ba? Okay,
Iba
okay.
yung trivia natin tonight.
So investigate
Anyway.
first before investing. Sige po, Tito Butz.
parang sabi ko, I am FBI. Para bang, alam mo na yun, parang, okay, you should be an FBI. Investigate first. Bakit ka ako? Kasi, if, for example, you don't love children's noise, don't get a preschool.
Correct.
Di ba? Yung bang you hate children's school noise, no? Para bang you get so irritated, you get crappy and all this. Para bang kaya nga meron kaming preschool na noon, no, na in-assist, no. And one of the things I said, whenever there are people looking, entertain them in the school during school hours. But then give them a bottle of water and an aspirin just in case they have a headache. Because once they have a headache, they take that aspirin, then they can walk out of the school and say bye-bye. It's not meant for them. But the owner of the school, sabi niya, the noisier the kids, I love it. Because the noisier they are, the more income I see.
Wow, galing ano.
So sabi ko, wow, okay ito. And she was fortunate. You see, in franchising, you have to, what we always say, you are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. In other words, if you're a startup now, don't end up just being a startup. You have to move up. And the way to move up is actually franchise your business. Bakit? Kasi yung startup is a prototype. You have an idea, you have this concept worked out, okay, you started earning or loss, whatever, but then you fine-tune to your target market. Sino ba yung market ko? Kung may barbecuehan ako, sino ba yung market ko? How much can they afford? Di ba? Parang ganun yon. After that, then you start out leveling. Bakit? Because when you invest on a startup, that's just your tuition fee. But when you start to expand via franchising, other people invest on you and they manage it and your brand equity spreads out. In other words, kasi sa akin, ang startup, in my experience now, up to 3, okay ka. You can start up. You can have branches, no? Pag 4, medyo tumataas na yung blood pressure mo. Pag 5, I don't know whether St. Peter will be accommodating you soon. Para bang, kaya ko pa.
Oo. Ayun nga, Tito Butz, ano daw maganda and when is the best time? Paano mo masasabi na, yung startup ko ready na to franchise?
I always say, you have done the roller coaster ride. Lalo ngayon, ang roller coaster, ang daming twists and turns and ups and downs. One. Number 2, your business addresses a need rather than a want. Okay? And then the other one is profit and loss. What's your profitability? Okay? What is your kind of products that you have? You can fine-tune your products kasi when I meet people like that, for example, Mang Inasal, no, when I started mentoring him, he had 30 items, 30. And I realized not all 30 items were all earning. I realized making a study, an analysis, I only saw 5 items making. And so the 25 items were actually all parasites. They were all grabbing the profit. So we have to fine-tune, which is leading to me the USP, yung unique selling proposition.
Unique selling proposition. Okay po. USP. Wow.
USP, yung kung hindi yung KSP, no, yung kulang sa pansin.
USP. What makes
USP.
you distinct, diba? What makes you unique?
Yeah, what makes you different from all your neighbors? I would not call
Competitors. Hindi.
what make you stand up? Like for example, top of mind. Pag sinabi nating chicken, what comes to mind? Or how can I use that as a benchmark? Di ba? So sa akin, I always look into different angles. What way can I go and bring that startup? Remember the blue ocean and the red ocean theory, right?
Yeah.
You keep on swimming towards that because when you go, like for example, now, there's so many milk tea. Para bang,
Po, bigla pong gano'n, no? Parang lahat na yung yata gusto milk tea.
oo,
Nasa hype siya.
para nung araw yung shawarma, di ba? Para nung araw yung mga pandesal.
Opo.
But a startup that starts having a documentation and a system will emerge with the USP. So, yun ang parati ko sinasabi, don't dishearten because kaya-gaya ka ngayon. But when you start putting your system there, when you start putting some techniques or strategy, then you now emerge as somebody who will be remembered. And nowadays kasi ngayon, the social media is so rampant. I tell you, we don't have boundaries anymore, di ba?
Correct po.
Di kagaya nung araw, meron kang kaibigan reporter, interviewing ka, lagay ka sa dyaryo, okay ka na, no?
You mentioned social media, Tito Butz. May nagsabi lang dito na, how can you make your business, be it a startup or a franchise, stay long? And what, I'm sure you're also familiar na because you have a website, etc. How do you keep marketing it in social media?
Well, alam mo, you have to come and be creative. No? Para man sinasabi ko, yung in startup or even franchise, start small, dream big. But make sure you have action plan. Kasi some people, they dream big but they don't even grow. Yung point na yun na you have a startup with a word of mouth, startup with a simple website. Kasi website a lot of people think website is passe. No. I always say it's like having an address, a house address.
An office.
Media is a highway. But where is your address in that highway? And coming up with a dynamic website, ang dami na ngayon. Marami na mga bata ngayon. In fact, engage ko nga pag gumagawa ng website, sino yung mga millennials at hindi yung may linya? Kasi kung may linya, iba na Iba na yung, kung may linya no? Yung filineal ba? Yung
Millennials, yeah.
Ay, Tita Linyals nga
Tita Linyals ba?
Bilong ako doon.
Pero there are a lot of young people now with out-of-the-box, dynamic, they can understand. And you can always update your website. Don't make your website na 1990 pa yung website mo, hindi mo na binago. Baguhin mo naman. Kasi stale na yan di ba? And then you write. You develop a habit for writing. Ako, I have to be honest, I was very poor in writing in school. But I have to force myself into writing my thoughts and sharing good news. Wag naman yung fake news, no? Coming up with good news about the business, and that's the reason why I have a column now for the last 8 years.
Yes.
ABS News.
Yes.
Nothing but good news, the challenges of entrepreneurs, yung mga ganon.
Okay. Now, I think we're ready with our trivia. And for that person who can type in the meaning of IFBI. Ayan. Yan ang
Ayun,
trivia
okay,
tonight,
okay.
Isa lang ang mananalo, guys, kasi dati nagkamali ako. So, isa lang ang mananalo. Kung sino yung pinakauna mag-type ngayon na, ayan, what is IFBI? May mention lang kanina.
IFBI, yun. So kung nakikinig kayo guys, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, for those who are listening and watching for tonight, if you're intently listening to Tito Butz, you would know what's the meaning of IFBI.
Oo, nag-react nga si Prof di ba? Kasi nagustuhan niya yun.
Ano yun Ang dami ko nga learning. Naku, maraming salamat Tito Butz. Ang dami ko agad na pick up na. Oo, ang dami ko na pick up na magagamit ko sa mga tao namin.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Coach.
Si Tito Butz, meron kami ditong segment which is what we call share or dare. And dahil nga, guru ang ating featured guest tonight, yan. I think medyo mas maganda naman kung hindi natin siya i-dare, but mag-share siya sa atin. So ano bang i-share niya? Ang i-share niya is if there are any recommended system or structure for business, regardless if it's a startup or a franchise, meron po bang steps or anything to that effect na we need to consider when we, kunyari ako, galing ako ng employment, so that's my personal truth. At to an extent, gusto ko na maging my own boss, right? But I know it's not gonna be easy. Is there parang a checklist or a business tip from you na ready ka na? Sige, paano mo gagawin? Meron kayong parang a list on how you can check if you're ready? Meron po ba?
Well, when I took the leap of faith and took that optional retirement, I had only one plan. But I think when you want to jump from employment to entrepreneur, you have to have a business continuity plan. What is your fallback? Don't rely on one plan. Come up with A, B, C, D, E. Because if one fails, you can count on the other. But never fear. That's kasi sa akin, when fear overtakes you, you sort of emotionally and physically get stunned. Para bang di ko na kaya. Because the enemy of one's entrepreneur is himself or herself, no? The only way you can listen to many hundreds and thousands of motivators, but the only person to motivate is yourself, no? Para bang kumbaga nobody but you, di ba? Yung mga kanta na
Nobody but
Alam
yan.
din niya ang K-pop, di ba?
Oo naman. Siyempre, alam mo naman, updated si Tito
Di
Butz,
kailangan
di ba?
kasi sa marketing talaga. Dapat you're in the groove, di ba?
Tsaka you always don't be afraid to ask. There's nothing wrong. When I started my business, I had to ask people. And don't let money be a hindrance. Kasi pag sinabi mong pera, wala akong pera, nega ka na negatron.
Tama po, yes. Tama po tayo doon. Kumbaga, ang common thinking po ng nating mga Filipino, mahirap magnegosyo kasi wala naman akong pondo. Kaya gusto ko yung sinabi ni Tito Butz kanina na you have to have an inventory of yourself. Ang term namin doon sa office, Tito Butz, ito, skill set. Ano ba yung skill set mo? Kasi kung mahusay ka sa ganito, yan ang una mong kapital. I always tell friends, especially clients, pag tinatanong din ako, Prof, ano ba magandang negosyo? Ako, I always tell them, ano ba yung gusto mong ginagawa?
True.
Kasi kung gustong ginagawa yan, mas madali na tayo makakapagsimula. Kasi hindi ko naman pwedeng sabihin, dapat mag-ano ka, mag-put up ka ng restaurant. Prof, hindi naman ako nagluluto. Hindi naman nagluluto. So, that's going to be an additional learning curve for him. Pero pag sinabi niya, perfect, Prof, kasi gusto ko nagbe-bake, parang in a way, we are on the right track. Diba? Parang,
may matching, kumbaga.
May matching. Kaya gusto ko yung sinabi ni Tito Butz kanina, inventory ng sarili mo muna. Kung ano yung mga, ano ba yung meron ka, ano yung skill sets mo, diba? Kaya ladies and gentlemen, for those who are listening and watching, I always tell people, you want to be good with what you're doing, start first with yourself. You are the first product.
And you are the business, tama ba?
And you are the business. Kasi eventually, of course, dahil nga sa gustong yung ginagawa mo, it becomes a business already kasi nagkakaroon ng structure. And I like, again, Tito Butz, sinabi mo na, yung documentation. I've learned that kay Coach Aiet. Pag sinasabi niya sa akin, Prof, dapat naka-document yung mga natin. And I told her, let's do that. I like that. Yung meron tayong process flow chart para alam natin, nag-i-improve ba tayo? Or nare-reach ba natin yung target natin? Yan.
And how far are we from the goal?
Siguro isa pang ma-recommend ko is actually keep a journal. I don't know how many journals I have. It's not something like para bang ano yan. But I keep writing things, ideas, morning. I keep jotting down, and I'm the only person reading this. Like for example, what I recommend is isulat mo yung feelings mo ngayong araw na ito. you feel sad, what is in your mind? Sulat mo lang. You can doodle, you can write keywords, you can say if you're angry, sulat mo yun. And then after a week, review that. And I do this every Sunday. I take time for myself. It's like recharging your battery. Kasi if you don't look back and you don't make a discernment, you'll always keep on moving and moving and you'll keep on hitting the potholes eh. So, in the next week, then meron ka ng set targets, set goals. But again, always expect the unexpected, which is now my next line. Expect the unexpected. Have a room. Parang sinabi natin, March 16 ba, alam natin magkakaroon ng pandemya.
Oo nga.
Opo, no?
Marami hindi prepared.
Nobody expected that. Even the Feng Shui
Rich,
master, coach, di ba?
the
Yung mga
rich,
Feng
the
Shui
poor,
master,
the
hindi rin nila
middle class.
na-anticipate na magkakaganon.
Para bang magsasabi ka ng epidemic, yung epidemic naging pandemya. Hindi nga natin alam kung ano ba yung pandemya na yun eh. Ano ba
Oo
yung
nga po.
na Spanish flu? Ano ba yun? Para bang, wow, lockdown. And how many months have been in lockdown? 8 months.
Yeah.
Haven't we adjusted? Yeah, you have adjusted. A lot of good things happened.
Yes.
Yeah, I always tell people, don't look things na masama. There are a lot of good things happening as well.
Tama naman po. Kaya nga one of the learnings I had with a fellow mentor in the real estate industry, shout out kay Sir Ariel, yan Manyalak, and Andy Manyalak, of course magkapatid yan. Sabi niya, never let a good crisis go into a waste.
Yeah,
Yan.
true.
Pinabanggit na, there would always be opportunities. It would simply depend on how you look at the glass. Is it half full or half empty? Yan.
Right. Alam mo, ang dami kong learnings tonight ha. Kasi nabusog na ako.
Galing, di ba? Kaya nga sabi ko sa'yo kanina, Coach, I'm so excited kasi alam ko yung
Di na ako
guest natin
nakapagkape.
for tonight, talagang marami tayong matututunan. Kasi here in CoffeeHouseChat, Coach and Tito Butz, we did this one because it really, the intention of is to feature Filipinos, fellow entrepreneurs, professional, to be able to add value to the industry by sharing either their expertise, their experiences, yan, na in a way would help us in our business, in our profession. Mga nakikinig, kumbaga, pwedeng empleyado ka ngayon, pero sabi nga nila, information is readily available eh. Diba? Ang kagandahan ngayon, ladies and gentlemen, we have the internet.
Digital
Years and years before, if you want to learn something, saan ka pupunta? You go to the library. Diba? But now, diba, Tito Butch, meron ka lang cellphone na maayos, meron kang wifi na maayos-ayos, tatype mo lang doon, you can already get. Tapos if you have mentors, like of course, Tito Butz, Coach Aiet, and Professor Sai, na pwede mong tanungin once in a while to help you,
You know
you will never go wrong, Coach.
Correct. And dahil binanggit mo ang social media, maganda na rin na ipakita natin ang social media ni Tito Butz para for those people who are looking for, if you have plans on franchising and probably you wanted to know more about what we just discussed tonight, here are his platforms, yeah. And as he mentioned, website is updated. You can engage with him. Ayan.
Meron pala ako.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Tito Butz, sige po.
Yung is also use of time. Nowadays kasi ang dami nating oras, no? Pero for entrepreneurs, I always say, my gosh, 24 hours is still kulang pa.
I would totally agree with that.
Because
Opo.
I pity whenever I look at the Facebook. And I pity a lot of people who say, I feel bored. Para bang, come on,
di ba? Dami mong oras para ma-board, di ba?
what is yesterday is the future of what you're talking today. Di ba? Yung bang ngayon eh. Yung bang
it's what you attract. Tama ba? Yun yung what you attract.
Para bang what you attract. Minsan aawain mo pa. Hoy, magbayad kayo ng utang. Parang, sino ba kinakaaway mo sa mundo? And then there are people who are, I hate to say it, but there are people who are looking as the likes in Facebook, as their measurement of success. No, I gave a talk to a lot of young people. And these young people were saying, Sir, ilan ba yung likes nyo? Bakit? Kasi sa amin, minsan may problema kami eh. Bakit? Yung yaya namin, mas marami pang likes kaysa sa akin eh. Bakit to? Parang sabi ko, wow, I got shocked, no? I got shocked. Because who are your friends? Your friends are real people. Who are your FB friends? Are they real people or are they just accommodating you? Kasi sa akin, alam mo, on social media is not a sprint eh. Hindi yung pabilisan eh. A social media is a marathon wherein you have to be patient, you have to know you're facing, and you are not there for all the likes. Yung iba, bumibili pa ng likes. Yung bang,
Oo nga,
Hoy,
talaga.
coach, professor, like mo naman ako. Please.
Seriously sila.
Hindi ba may mga ganon? Yung bang,
Oo, lalo na kapag close friend.
oo, parang... Tapos bakit ka maiinggit sa iba? Ako, I don't look at others. Look at yourself and compete with yourself. Kasi sa akin, we all have our own niche. We all have our own specialization. Kaya nga sabi sa akin, Butz, ang daming gumagaya sa'yo. Oy, thank you, hallelujah. I mean, praise God. You
That
know.
means you have an effect on them.
Yeah.
Although you are really doing something
compliment.
fantastic and great that people would admire and would really copy what you are doing.
Somebody asked me a while ago, Butch, I want to be like you. How can I be like you? Sabi ko naman, well, it took me 27 years. Are you willing to do that? How old are you now? Sabi ko. But sabi ko, find your own niche. Ask me questions. Ganun lang. Pero iba naman kasi, unethical. Which I also want to say. Don't be unethical because the world is small eh. Yung bang namimirata ka, yung bang stalker ka, yung bang may mga ganyan sa social...
Naglo-lurk.
Hindi.
Sabi nga nila, lurker.
Lurkers.
Yeah.
Ayun ba, lurkers ba yun?
Oo, ang tawag
But
dyan.
again, yung iba, gagayahin ka, they get your picture, and they use ilang beses ako na ganyan. Sa akin, sir, nagbibenta raw kayo ng real estate. Ha? Hindi ako nagbibenta. I don't own any business. Sir,
Posters naman daw ang tawag dyan.
oo.
Posters.
Posters.
Sabi ko, wow, ginaya ako. So, nireport ko na lang sa FB. Di na, block na sila. But sabi na iba, you know, Butch, swerte mo, nagaya ka. Ha? Swerte. Para bang,
Kasi pag original daw, nire-recopy talaga.
oo nga eh, no? Para bang,
Para,
but tama ka, Prof, yung sinabi mo, enjoy what you do. That's a secret. Ako, 1993, we started the business and my wife and I seemed like we started yesterday. Every waking up day is like an excitement, but not all excitement. There are challenges too. You know?
Totoo po.
Hindi naman kami perfect eh. No? Meron din kaming downs. But when you're down, you try to lift up yourself and say, there's a message being told to you. When you're down, review your strategy. When there are no customers, find out why. Are customers shying away from you? Or your business concept is no longer according to the radar? Parang ganun yun eh. You have to be pivoting. You know, ngayon is the word pivot eh, di ba?
right.
Pivot up.
Hindi ko maintindihan yung pivot nung araw. Sabi ko, pivot?
Akala ko din nasa Excel lang yan eh.
Ano yan eh, Tito Butch, the first time I've heard that kay Coach Aiet, she was working with a BPO company.
Kasi sa Excel, we do it
Sa
a
Excel,
lot.
pivot. Sabi ko, may pivot na yan. Tapos eventually, naging parang, ano na po siya, no? Parang words or word for the year na, di ba? Pivot yan.
Because it's an optimistic word. And when you say pivot, you change your ways to another to become better.
Yeah.
So, that's
You
also
adjust
a form,
yan.
it's also parang a step to scale up. Diba? Yan.
Pero isa,
Sabi nga, oo.
ang isa pang, ano ko yan, when you start a business, make sure you are healthy. Okay? Make sure you don't forget your health. I've had a lot of friends who died earlier, younger, simply because they forgot to take care of themselves. You're like a captain of the ship. What is a captain who is always sick? Paano mo i-guide yung business mo, no? Parang
The business dies with you.
yung ngayong pandemya, nakita ko ngayon kung sino talagang healthy captain and the sickly captain. Yung may mga franchisors dyan na, ay, bahala sila sa buhay nila. Teka, franchises mo yan. Matira matibay. Hindi. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. You took that responsibility. Okay? Meron mga iba dyan, ayoko na. Hirap na ako, pagod na ako, suko na ako. No, don't quit. Remember, this is like the case of Injap Sia of Panginasal, who is now, what? The big guy, okay?
Opo.
45 billion pesos guy. Who started with 2,000 pesos, by the way. We talk about money kanina. He started only with 2,000 pesos 14 years ago. And, he wanted to quit because he was tired. He was, imagine mo, ikaw ay nagtatrabaho ng alas 8 ng umaga, uuwi ka ng alas 2 ng umaga, magtitimpla ka ng alas 3 ng umaga, gigising ka ng alas 6 ng umaga para ihatid yung mga bata sa eskwela, at balik ka na naman sa tindahan. Ganon ang kanyang tema. Napagod na siya kasi sabi niya, wow, mahirap pala mag-business. Oo, mahirap. Alam mo ang ginawa niya? Natulog lang muna siya ng ilang araw. Mga day off siya ng 2 days. But you know what stopped him? I asked him why. I was thinking of my obligation to the people who are working for me. And that really prevented me from closing. Sabi ko, if you closed your business of Mang Inasal, would Jollibee have bought you for 6 billion? Because you were just starting there. You were just going up. If you close and quit, you will be always sorry. Para sinabi mo, dapat pala. Alam mo yung mga word na dapat.
Opo, yung may mga ganun po, no, na yung dapat pala tinuloy ko na lang. O kaya dapat pala sinabi ko na lang. O kaya dapat pala ginawa ko na lang, no?
Oh, yung mga dapaters. Yan ang
Mga dapaters, yan.
Mga dapaters. Parating
Ang dami kong acronym tonight.
Oo, ilista mo na yan, Coach. I-discuss natin yan sa sa ating
masarap i-coffee talaga outside si Tito Butz kung pwede na siya, no? Prof side, ang dami na
Eventually, pagka siguro talagang it's really safe, especially for him to go out. But in the meantime, we can have them on coffee virtually.
Yes, oo nga.
Right?
Oo nga.
wala namang ano. But one of the things I also do is I set who are my clients. When you are starting a business, you have to have that synergism. I believe in synergistic relationship. What I can do and what you can do. It's a win-win-win. Something na wag naman ikaw lang yung kabig. Parang what you can do for me is what I can do for you too. And in essence, that's how franchising works too. It's not a one-way street. Even in business, I always say, try to be a winner. When you start a business, make sure you take care of your people. Make sure you take care of your suppliers. Kasi wag mo naman baratin yung suppliers kasi the suppliers are also entrepreneurs, And these two people who will support your business all the way through. Okay?
Right.
The other one is actually be fair to your consumers. Huwag yung, ang daming bumibili ng aking business ng product ngayon, taasan ko ng taasan. Be social conscious. Kasi, like for example, kung food ka, wag naman taas ng taas kasi marami rin nagugutom, di ba? Or even school, for example, like we have this bad news now that College of the Holy Spirit is closing down.
Opo, nagsara po. Nako.
Now, what's the cause? 107 years old. And that's the alma mater of my mother and my other aunties, no? And I realize it's the effect of what we are having now. There are less students who are now enrolling. Why? Because the parents could not afford. Either the parents got laid off or the parents are probably on a budget. So, they can't afford that kind of education. So, meantime, the school is paying ang daming chain of effects, di ba?
Opo.
Which is now a critical part. Para bang, paano na yan? Paano yung other schools? Will there be a chain? Again, we all have to save. Not because it's not my job, no. Para bang, you ask yourself, what can I do in order to be helping? Para bang, that's one thing That's one thing nowadays that you have to have that collaboration. Kasi that collaboration is something that you give and you help. Because we're on the same boat, di ba? Para bang, ayaw mo magmaskara kasi macho ka. Sige, huwag ka na lumabas muna kasi baka mamaya meron kang, carrier or...
Carrier pala siya, hindi lang niya alam. Ano po, Tito Butz?
Ayun ba yun? May mga kaibigan akong ganyan, nagagalit sa akin. Sabi ko, alam mo, huwag ka na lumabas kung ayaw mo maskara. Hindi, kasi hindi makikita yung lips ko eh. Why? Your lips is very important. Kasi ngayon, pag tinitignan mo yung mga tao, lahat maskara, mga fake. Anong fake? Hindi ba pag sinabi natin, o yung mask mo, tanggalin mo na. Hindi, wag mo na tanggalin ang mask.
Oo, tama. Tito Butz, meron akong tanong. Yung sa Tuesday mo na book, you mentioned something about it. Can you give us a gist? And then you also said na there will be a sequel, diba?
Yeah. Alam mo, this book is actually a result of our collaboration. There are 3 authors, friends of mine, Ayo and James. And one day during this pandemic, Ayo, who is very fond of writing poems, said, Butch, let's write an article, a book. Sabi ko, sure. Kausapin ko rin si James, sure, from Cebu yan. Ano sulat natin? Tuesday, choose all the letters in the alphabet and what do you feel about it? Sige, sulat ka lang, sulat. And we realized we were writing our own feelings. Okay? And that Tuesday is, in fact, we were surprised because it became a bestseller in Amazon.
Wow! Congratulations!
Congratulations to Butch. Ang galing, ha? So, you have 4 books na po, no? Tama po ba?
But that one is the latest.
The latest,
Tuesday.
yes.
VP of Franklin Covey, the founder, the Ritchie Group, who even gave the review. And there is even Miss Molina, manager of M. Holier, no? Ang dami. Like Paco Magsaysay of Carmen's Best. They all wrote their own review. And I'm happy.
This is available in Amazon?
They're available in Amazon, hardbound. Alam mo, ang Amazon yan, ang shipment nila, they are so fast in shipping hard copies, no? Even ebook. And that's
nice ebook. Audiobook, meron ba?
Later siguro. Wala pa kami nakakuha magandang boses no?
Pwede naman ang boses mo.
Actually, Tito Butch, yung boses mo, modulate, maganda na di ba? Parang siguro in a day, kung ginagawa mo yan, parang ano mo lang yan, exercise
habang
mo
nasa
na lang.
traffic, di ba?
Diba? Chapter 1. Yan.
Maganda.
Doing startups. So, actually, di po ba?
I used to be a broadcaster in my young days, so a DJ. So
Yun, kaya palang ganda ng voice. Yun naman. Huwag ka na maghanap na
no?
Ikaw na lang.
Oo.
Kanyang pag midnight, para bang panakot sa gabi.
Podcasting, okay din.
I do have podcasts. I have
Nice.
actually. Just a 5-minute podcast. I don't interview. Ang hirap kasi mag-interview. No? Alam mo, social media, I learned it the hard way. Grabe, talagang hard knocks. I read books. I view videos. I watch TED Talks, by the way. TED Talks,
TED Talk.
good platform for you to how to speak. Kasi boring dati ako magsalita nung araw. Monotone ako nung araw. Pero ngayon pala, grabe, talagang even your lingo, you have to understand the lingo of the millennials or else the millennials won't understand you. And so
Let's swipe you.
we're coming up with a sequel called Tuesday for Entrepreneurs.
That's
Okay.
nice. When is it coming out?
Siguro in a month's time, target namin, no? And then we're coming up with a Tuesday planner for Tuesday planner, like every day. What are your plans? So meron kami mga articles doon to perk you up. Tuesday for OFWs and Tuesday for kids. You know, I mean, para bang
Great.
Galing.
nagkaroon kami ng lightning strike, para bang we just keep on typing and then that's it. I guess God really sends us a message. Use your talent, because at the end of the time, I will ask you, how did you use your talent?
Right. And speaking of talent, feeling ko meron din naman ako niyan. You mentioned kids, diba? You mentioned kids, and this coming Saturday, I will be speaking before kids and their parents in business plan for kids, and this is powered by Resolute Life of Manulife. It's at 10 a.m. This is actually at 10 a.m. every Saturday kind of thing since May, but this is our 3rd batch already, and ako yung ma-feature naman on Saturday. So I hope you guys can listen, and I'll give a few tips also on the kids on how can they start doing their business plan. So yan. Yan po. Ikaw naman, Prof. Kamusta?
Ang maganda sa session mo, Coach, no? Start young, start right. Yan.
Oo, tama.
Okay, so thank you so much for that, Coach. So sa akin naman po, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are listening and watching, of course, every Saturday, together with the fantastic coaches of Always Be Closing Academy, together with Coach Ron C. and Coach Jeff Luspo, we give a free masterclass in terms of tax compliance. Kumbaga, kung ikaw ay isang financial advisor, ano bang pinakamagandang registration para sa'yo? Gusto mo ba? VAT registered ka ba? Or non-VAT registered ka ba? At ilang percent ba ang withholding tax ng insurance company para sa'yo? 10% ba? 5% ba? 12% ba? So, at ano ba yung mga dapat nating isubmit na mga reports with our friends from BIR? Yan. So, all of those things, guys, as a financial advisor, we are going to do that. We're going to teach you what are the proper spills, ano ba yung mga dapat na document na ginagawa mo. So you can be not only as a closer, but at the same time, a compliant financial advisor, which is why we call it from closing to compliance. That's every Saturday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Yeah.
Sige, before we wrap up our session for tonight, tingnan natin muna kung meron pang ibang questions from your end, Prof. Sai. And if you have anything that you would like to ask our franchise guru, ayan, sana maulit muli.
Oo nga. Talagang ang dami kong natutunan, Tito Butz. Hitik na hitik yung learnings natin for tonight. Kasi ako rin po naman, as also as a professor, really, sa akin po ang pagtuturo kasi it's a form of break for me. I'm a full-time entrepreneur, pero whenever I do teachings or whenever I do lectures like yung kanina po, for me it's a break. It's a way for me to be able to share yung natutunan ko. Sabi ko nga po there's no such thing as failures. Sa akin ang tawag doon tuition. Failures are simply tuition for learning. Nagkataon lang na yung iba mas mahal ang binabayaran kasi mas malaki yung failure nila. Pero if you look at it at the optimistic side of things, you learn more kasi malaki. Di ba? Pag maliit lang ang failure mo, maliit lang din ang learning mo. Yan. So that's how I look at it po kasi as a professor and at the same time as an entrepreneur. Together with my wife, Coach Aiet, she's also a partner and a business entrepreneur in the XDT group. She's the one handling po yung operations namin. I'm the one handling business development kasi.
Right. And ang maganda dito, he doesn't mind being coached. Kasi di ba kapag ikaw ang startup, parang it's all you. But I told him nga na it has to be in perspective. And maganda naman, according to you nga, maganda yung samahan kapag ganun because you get to pitch ideas and review, di ba? When you have the time also. Ayan. With that, thank you so much for gracing our session for tonight, Tito Butz. I hope this is not the last, Prof. Sai.
Yes, and again, Tito Butch, we are really so honored for tonight, listening from a guru, from a fellow mentor, and a seasoned entrepreneur like you. Napaka-valuable po ng mga learnings namin. And guys, those who are listening and watching, guys, ito yung mga tips, mga practical tips coming straight from the heart ng mga taong nanggaling doon, ginawa nila. Not because, kasi ang napapansin ko doon, not because may pera ka, pwede mo nang gawin. No.
Correct.
Diba?
Kailangan pinag-aaralan yan, di ba?
Correct. Tama po, Coach. Okay.
Ayan, dahil dyan, thank you so much, Tito Butz. Salamat at sana maka-daupang palad ka namin in person. Yan, malapit ka lang naman dito sa amin.
Konting tumbling lang po.
Yes, konting kembot lang na dito na.
Nandyan na ako. But again, I always say, tell people that don't be afraid to ask. I'm just here. Kung anong kaya ko, kaya natin. Yung parang I'm just present in the social media. So just mention you saw me with Coach Aiet and Professor. Usap tayo. Ako ganun lang naman eh.
That's great.
Marami kasi ibang ganyan, pagkala nila mentor, ay nakakatakot yan, baka...
Hindi siya approachable.
Ay kala namin baka meron agad bayad dyan. Hindi pera pinag-uusapan natin. Yung if I can put up some spirit in you to liven up, let's do it. No?
That's great.
There was a time when, I guess, we're all given this talent. I was chatting with somebody, and this entrepreneur wanted to commit suicide. And it's really sad. I felt so sad. He's a family man of four. And he said, Butch, I cannot handle any more life. I lost a lot. And my children are suffering. My wife is sick. And I like to end up my life. Sabi ko, look, if you are going to end up your life, why are you talking to me? Okay? Gawin mo kung gusto mong gawin. Para bang, but again, and think about the people, your loved ones who will be left behind. You are, I'm sorry to say, but you're selfish. Para bang, diniretso ko na. I mean, alam mo pag ganyan,
Opo.
you put sense eh.
Nagbabanta pa.
Nagbabanta ka pa, di gawin mo, just do it. Sabi nga ni Nike, di ba? But again,
Just do it. Oo.
isipin mo na rin, ikaw ay head of the family. Bibitaw ka? Sabi niya, oo nga, no? So sabi ko, sino tanga? Ako, sir. Good. So let's move forward. Anong gagawin mo? Anong gusto mong gawin? Para bang, there are times when you have to knock senses on people.
Opo.
Di ba yung bang, hindi mo pwedeng, ay, wag mong gawin yan. Hindi na. Ngayon, diretsuhan na. Para bang ganun lang eh. Para bang, ano bang gusto mong gawin? So, there are OFWs who also cry. I mean, look, hindi ho kahiya-hiya ang tao o ang lalaki umiyak.
Ay, opo. I agree with that po.
I have Zoom meetings wherein men cry. Huwag ka mahiya. Don't hold back. Let go. Okay? But then let's move on. Para bang, sir, ang sarap niyo kausap. Wala naman ako sinabi. I was just listening. You know, yung bang, give a listening ear. Don't always prescribe. And people will always feel, hey, somebody's listening to me after all. The world is not closing on me. Ganun lang.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? Sabi nga nila eh, if you are going to choose somebody who would coach you, parang hindi ka pwedeng magpili kasi bibigay sa yan. Pero you have to look for a good mentor talaga. And with that, guys, alam nyo where to find him. Ayan. So, chat with him and engage on his social media.
Coach,
Ayan.
picture time with
Photo op
Tito
time,
Butz.
photo op.
Yan.
Ayan.
I love this session.
Oo, ako din tayo maglutunan eh. Okay, game. 1, 2, 3. Smile! Good job.
Yun,
Ayan,
perfect.
guys.
And fantastic. Thank you
for
so much, Tito
listening
Butz.
tonight. Ayan, at dahil dyan, we would like to wish you all a happy weekend and a brand new week next week. And Prof. Aiet?
Guys, as I always said, learn more to earn more. But it's not only earning, it's also about sharing. Okay, guys, with that, God bless and keep
God
safe.
bless and good night always. And until our next chat, guys. Thank you, Sir Butz.
Thank you, Tito Butch.
for my family. I am grateful for my family. I enjoy learning. I make live the happiest school. I make
Hi guys, this is Professor Sai of Always Be Closing Academy and XTT. Guys, for the financial advisor in our industry, meron ka na bang BIR Certificate of Registration? And by the way, ilang percent ba ang withholding tax mo from the insurance company? 10% ba? 15% ba? 12% ba? What if we can help you lower your withholding tax to 5%? Guys, gusto nyo po ba yon? And ano ba ang registration mo? Value-added tax ka ba? Or non-VAT ka ba? Guys, if you'd like to learn more of that, then see you every Saturday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. together with the fantastic coaches, Coach Ron C. and Coach Jeff Luspo of the Always Be Closing Academy. Just click the link below and see you every Saturday. Guys, always be closing!